Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Forever Young. I'm your host, David Linton, and it's a pleasure to see you again. I hope everybody's been doing what they're supposed to be doing during this pandemic, which is social distancing, wearing your face mask, washing your hands, and sanitizing, okay? Now that we've gone through that, again, this is a production of Hope TV, and again, we're here celebrating life. And the name of our show, of course, is Forever Young, because as we all believe that age is nothing but a number. And so today we will be talking about, we got some exciting guests that's going to talk about being active. You know, it's been said that if you're active, it keeps you young. And, you know, and I can attest to that, having had people in my family who were active, but once they became inactive, they seemed to kind of deteriorate. And so we're going to talk about the importance of being active with a couple that's very active, but there's no one who's more active and more beautiful than my co-host, and that's Jean Hendricks. Hello, Jean.
Hi, David. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I enjoy your verbs as you use them to describe who I am. Of course, as always, I'm delighted to share this stage with you and be a part of today's topic. And as you said before, to be forever young, we must stay active. We must find something to do, no matter what your condition in life might be, what physical inabilities you may have. There's always something that you're able to do. Back to you, David.
All right, then, you know, so speaking of activity, you know, we've got a couple that's going to join us today. They're very active, but for our audience, I know you always have a little nugget that kind of sets the stage. And so for the audience out there, let's set the stage with that. I like to call it the Gene Nugget to be forever young.
Yes, by all means. This nugget, it talks about physical activity. And it says physical activity of any kind isn't any amount greatly shares our quality of life as we age. Being physically active as seniors is a tremendously beneficial, especially in the competitive phase whether it be card games, jogging, or bowling. Increasing your strength and mobility prevents falls and injuries. Also, your cognitive capabilities and general mood are also significantly improved. Active seniors getting older, but not their mind, body, and spirit. Run, jog, walk, or skip. Make sure you do a little of something each day to increase your exercise and mobility. Remember, with exercise, you can live long and carefree, free from a lot of aches and pains. Be healthy, stand tall, get up from your TV, from your couch, switch off your TV, get away from the games on your computer. The benefits of exercise and competition is to be healthy, safe, and of course, to be forever young. Back to you, David.
I just love those Gene Nuggets because it always sets the tone. And there are a couple of things you said in there. You said about being active, exercising, yes, being competitive, and staying forever young. And I think this is a perfect time to introduce our guest. This couple they're young, forever young. They're vital. We've got an author amongst one of them. They are very active. And so without further ado, welcome to the show, Cornell Stevens and Gloria Stevens. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So as you heard, we're talking about active and being forever young. And we know, give our guests a little bit about you guys in terms of individually. I know I'm going to start with the lady because you're an author, so we want to talk about that because that's also a vital thing. So you're an author, you are active. So tell us a little bit about Gloria.
Well, I'm an author by default. It was the Holy Spirit that made me write my book, but God. That's one thing. I'm a fun-loving person, and I'm sure, as everybody knows, I am a avid bowler, and I like doing and going, love people, be amongst people. So as you probably all know, this is very hard for me, but I'm going to get through it. So thank you for asking.
So you're the social butterfly, and your husband, Cornell. How you doing, Cornell? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, David.
So tell us about you. Now, you guys, we talked about activity. I understand that you guys are in a bowling league, and it was saying, and Jean mentioned bowling in her nugget. So tell us a little about the Stevens and bowling. Tell us.
Well, first of all, when it was near the time for me to retire from my job, I thought that I was going to try to pick up golfing again. But my wife was bowling, but I was just, going there to view it and everything. So we went to a national tournament sponsored by the USBC, the sanctioning body. And I was there, and it was humongous. It was gigantic, and I've never seen nothing on that scale before. And I was up there like a kid in the candy store. So when they got through with that particular round of bowling, my wife said, "Well, baby, you want to bowl?" I said, "No, I don't want to do that." And so finally I said, "Honey," she said, "What?" I said, "I think I might want to try it." She said, "Try what?" I said, "Bowling." So what she did, she ordered me a pair of shoes, a ball, and a bag. And when I first started, I was not that good. I was hard-headed, didn't listen. But over a period of time, she poured into me. Got on my nerve every now and then, but I still love her. And other people poured into me. So right now, I'm between a 170 and 180 average.
Okay. So when you said that, so it was her who loved it, and you decided to follow and support. And that's really good, the fact there's a team now. But I did hear something that even though you were lousy, she still hung with you until you got better. But now you guys you're competitive now. So who carries the team? All right, I'm starting a little stuff here. You said you're 170. Who carries the key? When you need a strike, who's the go-to person?
The number one or the number two? I'm the number one. I'm really an avid bowler. I take what I do seriously. Bowling is not just throwing a ball. There's science involved in bowling. It's just not, and like I said, it's not just rolling your ball and seeing how much any strikes you can get, which is necessary. But you have to know the science about bowling, the lane conditions, so on and so forth. And I had to get him to understand those things and to know that the lines on the floor mean something, the dots on the floor mean something, the arrows on the floor mean something, and the bowling pins are 5 pounds a piece. You need to know that.
Wow, I didn't know that. But that's good, because again, some people think that it's just bowling. So you guys, you compete as a couple, or do you? So how do you prepare? I mean, for the conditioning.
Practice. You have to have an arsenal of bowling balls. If you don't have just one, we have several. We have, good shoes. You have to have the right equipment, and anything you're doing, you have to have the right equipment. And with the right equipment, we practice. We practice several times a week when the bowling alley is open. And we're in bowling teams. You have to be on a bowling team locally, and they call bowling. They don't call them bowling alley. They call it a house. What house do you bowl in? And so we practice there. When usually we bowl in 2 or 3 different houses during the week. And this is how we become competitive. We bowl on the same team on one league, and the other league he bowls with another team. So, but when we go to tournaments, he and I are on the same team. We have singles, doubles, and team, a group of people that bowl together, and that's pretty much how that works.
Well, you know, are you going to say something, Jean? I know that.
One question as she was talking about, I was wondering, how do you prepare yourself to become the type of bowlers you are? Is that exercise that you do at home with your fingers or your arms? Is that important as far as being a successful bowler?
Well, it is too. But I for one, I do exercise. My mostly exercising is really with my ball. I throw a 14-pound ball,
Wow.
and when I exercise with that, with practicing of being able to throw it, being able to control that weight of ball. If it seems too heavy or I'm throwing awkwardly, then I have a lighter one that I could use. The next one would be a 12. And this is how we condition. It's no type of exercise, like I said, but we do exercise. We're walking, like I couldn't go to the gym or anything, so we've been walking, pretty good. I have, where I live at June, I have heels to go up, heels to come down. So we've been doing that. This is pretty much what we do.
And also, David and Jean, you have to have a real good mindset. It's got to be something that you really like, that you really want to do. And I've always been an athlete and played different sports, and I don't like to lose, but I can take losing. But it's how you should your mental makeup first. And once you are prepared mentally and you work on your physical game, like Gloria said, you practice. We were bowling like 4 times a week, every week, Monday morning, Monday night, Tuesday morning, and Thursday morning. So that's 4 times a week, and every week.
And
so that's intense. That's intense. So that is some really.
But you know what? We do the tournaments all over the country. See, we're not just local. We go all over in big tournaments. So you have to be conditioned, with, like I said, mentally and physically. And know what your ball can do. That's number one thing. Know what your ball can do. How it can go down the lane. Does it hook? Does it go straight? See, that's a lot. I don't want to go on and on about that, but it is a lot. If anybody would be interested in it, I'd be more than happy to show you and tell you whatever you need to know.
Well, you know what? Now, the fact that you said it's mental and physical, how does that translate to other things? I mean, your physical is social benefits of it, of bowling too, because again, as we talk about aging, one of the things about, getting older, people sometimes begin to feel isolated. So the fact that you have this very active activity, I know that has to help with your social and feeling good and being a part of something that's bigger than yourself, other than church.
Right.
But how does that help your marriage? I mean, because, doing this together, especially knowing that, and I know Stephen, and your brother Stephen, the fact that you are the better bowler. How does that happen? When you go to a competition, you come home and say, oh, you know what, we could have won that if you had made a strike. How does that work?
David, we both pour into each other in a loving way, nothing dogmatic or try to make them feel bad. It's just to help you to do better the next time and see what you didn't do right this shot. You make an adjustment like Gloria said, and then you try to get it right on the next shot. And then one of the most important parts of the game is not throwing strikes all the time, which is really good. It's being able to pick up the spares, because every spare you pick up, that's your score.
Right. You know, I do like the bowl, but I'm not a great bowler, but I can keep it in the lines. Gene, do you have a question for our guests?
Well, no, it was similar to a few minutes ago, and he kind of answered a little bit. Do they compete against each other mentally? Do you say, I'm going to get this, and then if you don't get it, does that make a clash with the two of you? You know, when one doesn't make a strike, or you should have made that strike. How does that work in a marriage, and you're doing the same sport?
Well, it really doesn't, because we know that we know the game, and you know that you're not always going to make it. Some nights you're off. You can be a professional bowler and like a 220 bowler, and you can bowl. As I bowled with somebody last year in tournament, they bowled a 96, but they were a 220 bowler. Some days you just are off, and I don't know if it's your mental or, I don't know what happens at that point. Just get a little bit frustrated because you should have done this or should have went here, and you get a little bit frustrated. And when we do that, we're like, well, don't worry about it. Forget about that one. Just go wait. Worry about the next one, or just get yourself prepared for the next shot. That's all we do. We don't beat no one up about it.
Right. Okay, Gloria, for the purpose of some of us who may not understand, what do you mean by a 220 bowler compared to a 90 bowler? What does that mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's an average that a person, his average is say a person average is 220. That's their average total.
Right.
And all the time they keep that down.
Okay.
Go ahead, Cornell.
Also, Gene, I was getting ready to say that you could have a high average, but because of the conditions of the lane or where you are mentally, and sometimes your teammates can kind of, push you in a negative way as well. So you have to take all that under consideration and still try to do your best, even though you may not get the results. But that's what I try to do. And when a teammate doesn't make a good shot or made a bad shot or whatever the case may be, I try to encourage them, because that's one of the things that you don't want to do is discourage your wife, your children, your teammate, or whatever. And you got to maintain a positive attitude and a positive outlook about the situation or the endeavor.
Right. So how many tournaments have you guys won? Or the most, how many you won for?
Oh, are you speaking with me?
Go ahead.
We don't win trophies anymore. I have trophies. I have won trophies in the past years, but they stopped that long time ago. People actually win money. When we go to the major tournaments, you're actually winning money. They have thousands of dollars invested in your prize money. So, that's why you try to condition yourself, be the best you can, and have the right equipment and so forth. And this is what gets you paid.
And also,
come on, I'm going to join. Come on, teach me. I didn't know they got money going.
You said another load now, but that's really good, because again, when you put that much energy and time in it, this is, this really is, so I got to say this, when you put that much time and energy in it, it's good to be that you're being compensated other than just a trophy. I mean, but so how are you handling this pandemic?
Yeah.
Not being able to get out and do, is there a season for bowling? Is this a particular season that's being interrupted or, keeping you from practicing? Tell us how that's affecting you.
Oh, yeah. It interrupted our season. We had to we didn't finish out the season for the fall season. And like I said, no practicing or anything, but we do tune in on our YouTube, and we watch bowling. We watch the people being, the tournaments that are on. I had thought about, my friend did it, to put on an old pair of bowling shoes and get an old ball and throw it out in the backyard. I mean, it was just a thought. But yeah, we do miss it. But we talk about it, and we, we sit there and watch for a couple of hours somebody bowling, and who didn't make their shot, and he's gonna make this shot. So we have a lot to talk about watching bowling, and just with any sports. I'm with my husband with basketball. I like professional, and football. So we have something to talk about because we both like the same things.
And also, David, with the league that we're in, we have 32 teams in one league, and the other league we have 28 teams. So if your team does well, you could end up like the team that was on in McDonald. We ended up in first place the first half. We didn't do well, so it kind of stopped.
So what is the season? What is the season? The golfing. I mean, what is the bowling season? I'm a golfer. See, I said golf. So what is the bowling season?
We'll start back up in August, and it goes for 36 weeks. Wow. In between those times, we're still going to local tournaments. We might be in Augusta. We go to Mississippi, like during in between your season of bowling, just for the locals, and the other most of the time they're all out west or Las Reno. They're out Texas, Dallas, Dallas, Houston, all over. We have been to San Antonio, El Paso, just to name a few.
Wow. So you're all over.
Bowling takes you all across.
So yes, we missed it. Yes, we're not. And we started bowling. That's my church friends. So I miss everybody so much. But you get to talk and renounce them to everyone, different ones, or they texting or emailing or something. So it's okay.
And also with the pandemic being the way that it is, it gives you a chance to really reflect on the goodness of God. Yes. Because I didn't want to be out there trying to compete and then come up with the virus and then spread it like wildfire. I didn't want to do that. It was a little mental anguish there for the first 3 weeks, but after that, we made the adjustments and we just decided we're gonna, do what we need to do to start. Computer or telephone or Facebook or whatever method.
Okay. Dave, I was going to ask them, the leagues that they participate in, is it related to your age or how long you've been playing bowl? How is that divided? The different leagues that you're in?
Well, not really. We do have leagues that's for seniors 55 and up.
Okay.
And then we have, that's the one. Then they have junior leagues and so on and so forth. On a senior league, I'm just a substitute on it. But the 55 and up, I have a gentleman that bowls and his age is 94.
Wow.
94.
Wow.
And he bowls pretty good. You can see he was a good bowler from the way he throws his ball, but he just doesn't have the approach, the approach is with the slide up there, the slider.
Right.
He's up there throwing his ball, but he's 94 years old, which I think is awesome. It's a blessing to still be able to bowl at 94.
Wow, that's fantastic, David. That's hope for you, David.
Yeah, there is hope for me. There is hope. And speaking of hope, if you're just tuning in, this is Hope for Me. You're looking at Young. I'm your host, David Linton, along with Gene Hendricks, and we're speaking to Cornell and Gloria Stevens. We're talking about activity, physical activity, being competitive, and these are championship bowlers, and they are vital. They travel all across the country, I dare say the world, bowling, and Gloria is working with Cornell, and he's coming along with his game. And, talking about the science of bowling. and it's just so important that this activity, you were saying earlier about the different the leagues and the competitiveness and that. And so I wanted to just to say that again for our audience, that like the leagues, the time span, and what it takes to really be a bowler. If you really, because some people think, like you said, it's not just getting up there throwing the ball down there. It's really, there's a science to this
Right. Exactly. It is a science to it. Like I said, if you want to be a really great bowler, then you need to get your right equipment. And as I said, practice. You have to. We see people bowling. They're like 19 and 20, and they're professional bowlers. They've gone to school and took up bowling in college, and they're professional bowlers, but they have their mindset for that, like I said, and they have the right equipment, the right, whatever it needs to be done, you have to do it. You have to read about things, you see what, you know what I'm saying, the conditions of your lanes. There's just so much to know about this. And also, if you are a pool player, we play pool as well, billiards. Oh. And it's the same concept with a different ball. So, if you like pool, just get you a bigger ball and go bowling.
David, since my wife brought up the subject of pool, when we first started dating, I think the first day we went to a restaurant, second day we went to this place that was kind of convenient to where we were staying, and we went there and we shot hoop, and we had a lot of fun. She beat me, I beat her, and we just, just doing things like that, because it's a lot of fun, and keep it vibrant, keep it useful, as much as you can.
You have the right eye. We also do a little bit of golf too, David.
Okay. Well, I could, what? It's funny that you say that, because when you was first talking about the bowling and the angles, it immediately made me think about pool, because pool is about angles and geography, not geography, but the angles. And so, it's funny when you go to school and you learn all these different classes, you think, I'll never use those things, but you actually use those things in a game like golf or bowling, because you got to know the right degree, the right angle to hit the ball to go to. So that's really, I will not look at bowling again the same way. Whenever I see bowling, I'm going to see the Stevens, and something that's going to help keep us vital and keep us young. If somebody wanted to get into bowling, what kind of advice would you give them to start? If they wanted to start this as a part of their regimen of activity, exercise, or what have you, what tips would you give them?
Well, if you're really serious about, before you go buy a ball and shoes, I would start going to one of the bowling centers and start practicing with a ball. You figure out a weight that's comfortable for you, and you start using that a little bit. But you eventually need to get a ball, because your ball is drilled for your fingers only, and that, however your fingers fit in that ball, that's what's going to cause you to be able to make the strikes or spares or whatever you need to make. So that you have to know that, and that's pretty much it. Your equipment. Your mind is, this is what I want to do. I got the right equipment, and you practice. That's what's very important. And like I said, this is a really lucrative sport. I mean, like I said, these people pour out thousands of millions, really, because it's the USBC, and we're familiar with that. The United States Bowling Congress, they put a lot of money into this tournament, and they're losing a lot because we couldn't go to the tournaments because they shut down the bowling centers. They are going to finish one of the USBC Opens that's in Reno. They're going to start back in September, and they'll finish it in October, since they couldn't go from March to up until present.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, you definitely piqued my interest when you said you were not getting trophies, you were getting money. I'm like,
yes.
You want to be my partner? Want to go and let's go practice and bowling?
I'll be a student also.
David, one more thing. There's another tournament that they have twice a year in January and August, and that's for veterans. And that's a humongous tournament, and it's very lucrative based on where you place that individually and as a team.
Wow.
Oh, okay. It's called what?
They don't call the money, they call it a purse. You know, how big is the purse? That's what
The purse.
Yes, the purse.
Okay, like okay, that gives it that professional sound, of course, because it is, that is, this has been such a very enlightening thing because, as we said, exercise is so important as you get older. I mean, you can be young or old, and that's why we have obesity with so many young people, because young people now don't go out and play baseball. Like when I was young, we would go out and play in the yard, play baseball. We go, I'm from the city, so we wouldn't have the hoop in the backyard. So before we got that, we went to the park, or we found something and put it up on the street light and threw in there. It was always, we were being creative, but it was activity. And that activity continues because, again, as they say with everything, if you don't use it, you will lose it. So as a clearly professional athletes, and for us amateurs, we are inspired by you because, again, you got to be moving. You got to, that vitality keeps your blood flowing. Because, again, one day you hit one of those ailments, you go, oops, what was that? So how about injuries? Do bowlers have injuries? How do you handle, do bowlers have injuries?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
You can get tendonitis in your hand, your elbow, shoulders. A lot of people have knee surgery.
Right.
They've been bowling so long, knee surgeries, mostly knees, the shoulder. Sometimes your hand gets stiff, your fingers get swollen. So there are injuries with that. And some people have hurt their back. If you didn't slide down right, you might fall. And so it's a lot, you got to learn, you got to stay out of that oil. Don't go near the oil. That's a short up.
Yes, it'll be your wrist and your ankle as well.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So there is an advantage of being a married couple. So you have somebody to massage those bones when things go wrong. Well, I know our time is winding down. Again, this is a show that celebrates life. We have, life is in phases. You have that early stage when you're supposed to, that grammar years, you're supposed to just be fun and exploratory. When you go to college and get a degree, or you find your trade or whatever it may be, then you have that 40, and then they say life begins at 40. And so from 40 to 60 to 65 or whatever is the real run. And now you're in that stage where we're supposed to be enjoying the fruits of our labor. We've got all this wisdom. And so we say this because we want people to understand, because as you become, once you get that AARP card, let's put it like that, you're in that stage when you really are supposed to be enjoying life. And you guys, your story is so inspiring. It's inspiring, one, because you can find activities to do, athletic, exercising at the same time. And for couples who are looking for something to do, bowling is a great exercise and it's a great activity that you can do together. So, I mean, you guys have just been so inspiring to me, and I'm going to see if I can talk to Eleanor and say she wants to go bowling. Jean, do you have anything else to wrap up to say to us?
They have talked about bowling. I used to bowl a long time ago, so now I think I'm going to try and find me a place to go and just to exercise to see what I can do as far as bowling is concerned. And before we close, I have just one more little nugget, David, if we have time. We have time? And it's called, who are forever young, they have to be careful and selective about the type of sports and exercise that we choose due to some health challenges. Even with health challenges, there is some type of exercise or sports you can participate in, even if it's bowling. I think when we go to gyms and exercise classes, the trainers and instructors need to be skillful to tell us how we're supposed to perform certain exercises or how we're supposed to lift certain weights. And the lack of physical exercise has been shown to increase the risk of chronic health conditions. Engaging in physical activity routines together is thought to be a good form of healthy exercising. So in order to be forever young, please continue or start an exercise program. Start with bowling. It's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes. Also, the title is Forever Young, but it's man over matter. Because you up in age don't mean you have to claim things, even though you may have some challenges, but you want to make sure that your mind is right. And he said, if you keep your mind in him, he'll keep you in perfect peace. I've been having some challenges while I was bowling, but she put a little Bengay on it and run me down pretty good, and I'll go out there the next day and do the best I can.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what
And you know what? Did you want to say something? Well, I'm going to let him have the last word because that was a great.
Yes. That's a good way.
You know, again, I want to thank you for
keep it
100. And yes, we do. Yeah, but I mean, with all of that, like I said, we doing things together. Mostly all the things we do together. We do have heated discussions occasionally because we don't always agree, and it's okay. But we can agree to disagree, and we never. In about 2 or 3 minutes after the heated discussion, we're okay talking about something else. And I'm not, that's important in any relationship.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Never take anything to heart.
Right.
This is my information for you. Never take anything to heart. Like I said, you're going to have heated discussions and whatever, because we are different people.
Right.
But, you take it to heart, you drop it and go on with something else. We do. I mean, no matter what happens, we start talking about something else like it never even happened and go on, Yeah.
That is good. Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm a honeydew kind of guy. She said honeydew, I do it.
Well, you know what? That's, as they say, happy wife, happy life. But again, I just really want to thank you because, Gloria said something that was really, really interesting because, me and my wife have been married 38 years. And one thing we vowed to do is we never go to bed mad. So we have to stay up all night. So we wake up the next day and start a new day. So again, we want to thank you guys for being here. We want to thank you for taking the time to share with our audience about exercising, about love, and about togetherness. All those things are important. And so again, on behalf of our producer, Benton Aladdin, our executive producer, Dr. E. Dewey Smith Jr., this is Hope TV, Forever Young, a show that celebrates life because we know that no matter what happens and where you go, it's all in your mind because age ain't nothing but a number, and you are really forever young. Until next week, on behalf of Gene Hicks, we say, see you later, and God bless.
God bless.
Thank you.